Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the Crubcast, your weekly dose of controlled chaos here in podcast form. Getting this out right at the very jump here. This is a Peacemaker spoilercast. This will probably lead to spoilers for the entirety of the Peacemaker show. Maybe Creature Commandos,
in fact,
anything
we're
in
about
the
to
DC.
say a spoiler within 5 seconds.
Yeah, the
Ready?
spoiler is that
Nico.
Eagly has another hug.
Yep, it's true.
That's true.
It's true. He does.
For this episode,
That's the only thing that happens actually over the course of 8 hours. That's the only thing.
There's nothing else. They just all sit there in an office otherwise for that.
It literally is just an 8-hour eagle hug.
Yeah. So, this episode of the Crubcast is a spoiler cast. If that is something that you want to wait for, obviously wait and come back. Let us know what you think once you get through the show. If you are watching, if you're not, I think you should. I think there's a caveat currently in that I think maybe it's a current wait and see situation. I don't know how you both felt about it. We'll talk about it. We haven't really discussed anything. This is right after the show finished.
Heavily.
I
aligned.
literally just finished the episode and ran upstairs.
Yeah,
heavily aligned.
It's gonna be interesting. But if you're in the audio realm, you don't know our voices, you don't see the names on the screen that we have on the YouTube feed. My name's Kevin. I'm here with Nico.
Hello.
And Trav. That is the noise that Trav will make for the entire episode. It's the eagly noise.
Actually, we're gonna just AI that sound, and so we're just gonna put an AI voice filter of that.
Just for the whole episode. Yep.
Yeah, for the whole episode.
I was there when I signed my rights away. It is like,
That's
oh no,
true.
this contract was absolutely signed by a Travis guy. So
it's perfect. That makes it so that we can say whatever we want because no one will listen to it.
True. I am conflicted about this episode, but I thought this season was pretty masterful.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I have a lot of complex thoughts. I don't know how I would rate it. I know that I've been having a great time with it. Nico am this was fun TV, but I have thoughts. I need to hear you guys out first because
you can't form an opinion until someone else says theirs.
God.
No, I actually have some pretty strong takes on this one.
I have a pretty good idea of what they'll be.
Trav, I'll throw to you first while Nico puts his thoughts together. General thoughts, general takeaways on the season as a whole. We'll go into this episode specifically, maybe a little bit later, so that there's a softer spoiler warning, perhaps.
Yeah.
Season as a whole, I think I enjoyed it more than season 1, but I enjoyed it more because of season 1. Mm-hmm. It felt good as a sequel to season 1. It built off of everything that was there. There are definitely things that season 1 handled better. It was a lot more focused. But season 2 felt like it did a great job continuing Chris's arc into his guilt about his brother, his guilt about his parents, his upbringing, and also just trying to be a better person, but facing the very real, what would you call it? That feeling of just the darkness pulling you back in.
Yeah.
Whatever kind of funny symbolism or metaphor we want to throw there. I think it handled that beautifully. As for the finale, I'll just give my take real quick. It was fine.
Yeah, I think.
What are you thinking?
So I think that as far as mass consumable media that has dealt with the concept of any multiverse stuff. Because maybe if you're not familiar, these two, along with Moriarty, did a podcast on Superman. I have not watched Superman yet still. I held off because my partner is planning on watching Suicide Squad, then Peacemaker, then Superman, then Peacemaker. Oh. So I was like, I'll just wait. I'm not going to spend 2 hours watching it now. I'll wait. I know the gist, obviously, especially now.
Yeah, I'm sure you've got most of it spoiled for you by now.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, actually.
I mean, there's not much as far as this show goes that I missed, so I don't think it's really a huge everything that's relevant to this show is directly discussed in the show, which is something that is very good that DC is currently doing that Marvel has tended to struggle with lately.
Not be afraid to spoil previous projects?
No, make it so that each thing is contained. You can watch Peacemaker and not consume Superman and understand it.
It makes it. Yeah, you're right. It's banger to see these characters, but if you didn't see the movie, like it's fine. They
Well,
explain
and it
them.
made me watch Creature Commando this past week. I was like, you know what? Let me see
Same,
what's going
actually.
on. And
Yeah.
I'm now more upset at Rick Flag Sr.
I binged it like 4 days ago.
I
just
probably we
watched all
might
the
have
way
done it
through.
at the same time. I'm not gonna lie. So to me,
Probably.
the thing about
is-
it, to circle back to my point, as far as mass consumable media goes, this is maybe the most interesting use of multiverse stuff that I have seen in a
Oh.
long time. Not ever
I
necessarily.
do agree. I do agree with that.
In that, if you're not watching and you're just watching this or listening to this to hear, our takes on the show, again, watch it. I think, but
You should watch it. You should watch it. Form your own opinion, audience.
it's very violent. It's very rated M, so fair warning. There's gore, but I think to me it's so interesting to see the multiverse used for an internal what if situation, as in
Yes.
I'm looking just at one other mirror. I'm just looking in a mirror and seeing the world that I want to see, and that is the story of season 2 for the
And
most
it's
part.
not being used for any like crazy cameos. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing. Like if you're going into it for the sake of like a Doctor Strange or all that kind of stuff, where it's like, oh, there's Mr. Fantastic and all that, like you're not going to get that from this multiverse story.
In this story, it is Chris going to a world where everything is maybe how it would have turned out for him if things were slightly different. It's a butterfly flap away from being, in a couple ways, of being a very different world. And
One way to put it.
it obviously he finds out later, oh no, there is no good world. The world that you are in is the world that you have. It's life. Life is what you make it. And I think so many times throughout this season, exploring that concept took a while sometimes, but it led to some of the best performances of every single actor in this show of their career.
Yes, absolutely.
John Cena in the first couple episodes topped the best he's ever done, and then did it again near the end of the season.
Yeah, just at the end of that first episode when he's breaking down in his alternate house because he gets to see his family again. That was superb.
The spoiler, I'll give a quick bit. The spoiler is that Peacemaker's character. No, it's not a spoiler. But the spoiler for past episodes of the show is that season 1 we find out that Peacemaker's character was very defined by the fact that he was forced to fist fight his brother by his super white supremacist dad to make them both stronger, and he punched his brother, who he loved, his best friend, and the brother happened to die from that punch. And so that has been the trauma that has carried this character throughout his entire life. And wanting to be accepted by his family. And the first thing that happens in season, not the first thing, but the first thing in that new universe that he sees is that his brother is alive. So he sees his brother, he sees a dad who loves him, which he never saw. He sees this acceptance and is just so rocked by the ghosts of people that he sees, and the ghost of somebody that never got to grow up. And so that moment is insane. Seeing that all flood back again later in the season is insane. Harcourt has some insane performances. Like everybody gets so raw at so many different points in this show. And it's really, really good. It's not as action-packed as season 1. I don't think that Cena puts on his Peacemaker outfit more than once ever in this season. He puts on the other Peacemaker outfit from Peacemaker in his universe, or in the bad guy universe. And can we say, is that word okay on YouTube again to say without being demonetized?
You could just say Earth X.
Earth
That's what
X.
it's called in DC.
Yeah, Earth X. Anyway, I'm rambling a bit, but I think, like you said, season 2, it earns all of what it does because of season 1 being so strong. I think the main criticism I have is that this would have been better released in the same cadence as season 1. So season 1 was right. One of the last things that was coming out in the COVID weird era of TV and film. So they released it as a 3 episodes in the first week binge, so that you got to the premise. They then released the next 5
this time.
Nope. They then did the next 5
just
episodes weekly. This was 8 weeks of television. And I think that the middle would have been a bit easier to digest for a lot of people if they had gotten through the first 3 episodes in one go, instead of having several weeks where it is all character work, but I can see why people might feel that not much happened.
I watched it at that cadence, and I can confirm that you're right.
Yeah, and it didn't bother me because it was very. This is an internally conflict. This is an internal conflict of a season, and because of that, episodes where not much happens, they're not episodes that are filler. They're episodes that tell a story of those characters, and we didn't get a lot of that in season 1, for as much of it as we did also get. You know what I mean?
Here's a Eagly B plot that has no bearing on the story.
Yeah, the Eagly B plot was kind of weird, but also Eagly didn't have a lot to do.
Seeing Michael Rooker being Elmer Fudd was pretty funny, though.
Yeah, Eagly didn't have a lot to do this season.
No, the bits were all thummies. Can I speak for a hot sec? Sorry,
No.
I have some complex thoughts about all this. Like, here's the thing, right? I really appreciate all the character work. And I think the actors, the performances were thumbs up. The writing of the individual monologues, thumbs up. Perhaps the reasoning behind the individual monologues, thumbs up. Like, I think it's, in broad strokes, the character work is all like thumbs up at like a surface level. I think for me, some of the motivations felt a little rushed, and therefore some of the emotion perhaps not quite earned by the merit of this season alone, but to both of your points, earned on the merit of season 1 and those pre-existing character relationships. I think a lot of this is fallout, and I think it kind of presents itself as such. So it's like not necessarily like, you know, a season of like, so this then that. It's more so like these things happened last season and now our characters are mature enough to like kind of face it. And I get it, but it did kind of read to me like just going around the horn and giving everybody their moment, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I just noticed it, and it kind of like sometimes I don't notice that type of thing. So it was a little heavy-handed, just a touch.
The only time I felt it was heavy-handed was maybe actually in this final episode, only because this was not the finale of Peacemaker.
I know.
This
dude,
was the backdoor pilot for Superman 2.
Dude, yeah. I'm so upset.
I'll let you finish, Nico. Go ahead.
No, I'm just really disappointed at endings like this. You never know where TV is going to go. You never know what kind of contracts you're going to get. I understand it's DC and they got poured money into it.
Well, it's not. So like, I know where it's going. I know what they're setting up with this. I'll talk about that later on if we want to.
You know what they're setting up, but it's like you don't know what is like actually going to get produced. What kind of regime changes might happen between now and the next work that is funded?
So the thing is, like, the thing is, in this case, it's kind of a safer bet unless James Gunn dies, because
I'd hope so.
Well, because he runs DC, all of it.
Right.
He wrote Superman 2 already with this in mind. He's directing Superman 2, as far as I know. The next thing that happens with these characters will come from that. And so I did check. We had a little bit of time while Trav was finishing the episode, because Trav had to start a little bit later and ran into the HBO ads. If you like ads, patreon.com/crub. And so I went through, and the Peacemaker podcast is a thing they do, so that you can hear James Gunn talk for an hour about his work. And the only nugget I got so far when I skimmed through this last episode was that the original script draft did not contain the dark part of the ending. It ended with them at Checkmate all happy because they wanted that to mean something for the people that knew what Checkmate was. I think that's a bit too in the weeds. Personally, I think you should probably do a little bit more explaining, but I also know that he knows the audience is going to look this stuff up, and that that the audience that DC currently has is willing to do that extra leg of research. So that's not a huge issue. I just wish.
I also just think even contained to the show, with everything that's at stake, with another goddamn intergalactic prison being made, interdimensional, like it would feel kind of weird to just kind of end it like, oh, and now they formed their own group.
Yeah.
And so from what he had said there, it was he submitted the script to the other person running DC, Peter Safran, I believe his name is.
Something like that.
And he goes, hey, I have one more thing that I didn't put in this draft, and he explained what it was because they know where they're going with this. This is the plan. And that's when the other guy was like, yeah, we need that in there. So they put that in there. They ended it dark. The compelling thing to me is that I assume this means that Peacemaker is in Superman 2. For those that, again, aren't maybe following along with the show itself and just listening to our thoughts, and maybe this will compel you to watch it, again, spoilers, the whole episode goes in a very different direction than the rest of the season, to a fault, in my opinion, in that the season ends with them leaving Earth X in the prior episode, more or less. This is the start of the next thing. And I didn't feel they did a good job of wrapping up while setting up that next thing. It felt they spent so much time doing the backdoor pilot, showing the interdimensional stuff, showing and building the anti-Argus stuff within a bunch of the people working there and like making them want to leave, because Argus and Rick Flag are exploring all these different dimensions, trying to find one that is habitable, because they're making a camp. And this is a thing from the comics. They're making a camp for metahumans, for superheroes, and the big ending thing is everyone's happy. Chris is happy. He got the girl. They're finally like, everything's good in his life for the first time, more or less ever. And he gets, bag over his head, thrown into this salvation realm, this dimension, which is where they try to throw all the supervillains and superheroes in the comics.
It is their new metahuman prison.
And so Chris is just locked in this dimension as a regular human, because Rick Flag this whole time has been trying to get payback for his son. And
dude, my favorite, I didn't understand the whole Rick Flag being like, yeah, see, now he's gonna think that I'm out for revenge, and then it turns out he is. Like, why would he say that?
But that wasn't his main goal.
I think the thing to me that
he didn't make the prison just as an excuse to throw away Peacemaker. I think he wanted the prison and was like, well, I might as well throw him in there.
I don't know that I buy that, because now that I have watched Creature Commandos, he works with metahumans in that show and doesn't have an issue with them.
And especially the way that they literally called him a hypocrite in this final episode. Like, they said, you're aligning with Lex Luthor a lot more now these days, Flag.
Like, to me, it seemed like
maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
To me, it seemed like he was locked into the deal with the devil with Luthor, maybe, is the play. Because it's now, well, if it comes out that you're working with me, you're screwed. And so he's doing that bidding. And the only mean to an end that he wants out of this is that he wants Peacemaker gone. Yeah. Disappeared. I
am asking too many questions. Like, for what it's worth, like, I don't think it's worth asking this many questions. Like,
no, I think they want you to ask those questions, and I don't think they did a great enough job to make them great questions.
Yeah.
Currently.
It was a fun season of television. Like, I don't want people to take away from this that I didn't like it. I just have a lot of like little things that I noticed, like kind of just writing criticisms of just like pacing. That, like, like, for example, like Chris and Harcourt, like, their relationship, to me, like, I kind of didn't get a whole lot of sense as to like why he like cared so much, like, until this episode, essentially. Like, they didn't really show much of like them having like a relationship. They showed them like fighting people together, and like, and doing like that last like mission, I guess. And like, I understand like it's earned on the back of season 1, I guess, to our earlier point, but like,
yeah, it's a show. It's not
this season. It wasn't like, I don't know. I didn't see enough of it.
I mean,
personally,
I don't know that I agree with that, because there's like they don't have a regular relationship, and even now they won't, because this is just, to him, one of the people that accepts him, and that's a big deal to him.
I guess
like,
so.
It's all of what happened in season 1, because you can't ignore what happened in season 1.
No, you can't.
It's the fact that they then don't get to stay close, and that he keeps trying to see, is there a thing here? And then the moment he gets the thing, she realizes she's vulnerable with the guy that killed her F buddy and closest friend.
That's a good point.
And so now she's like, I've now fallen into the thing I said I wouldn't, which was that I was supposed to get this guy. And now
that's a good point.
I got him a different way.
I like that. I like that perspective. I think
these
that's
are two very broken people in different ways.
And the
I
one
like that.
thing that unbreaks Chris as a character is the fact that he can try and accept someone who's also broken because he can't accept himself. You know,
I like that perspective.
so I think that part's earned. I think the parts that I don't feel are as earned are like Adebayo and her wife. They brought that up in the first
Yeah.
episode, and then really not until the very set of the
Until the
finale to
very
build checkmate.
end.
Which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
very interesting because I think that it also features, if we count that end scene, I think that might be one of the healthiest breakups I've ever seen in fiction.
Which is really like honestly, it was such an incredible job from both of them in terms of performance.
Yeah, like
know,
I was
that
good
was a
with
great
that.
moment.
I was glad. I was glad that they did that
And-
way. To be honest with you, you don't see a lot to the at the point of like the very ending of this show. You don't see a lot of satisfying television in that way. You don't see a lot of maturity heralded.
Yeah, like you don't get that happy ending of I'll accept the job that you want. Like these people have to drift apart because of their differing life goals and how life took them in a very different way. And we see that in the next scene too, because the next scene after that is the scene where they they bail Chris, or they go to where Chris is because he got bailed out thanks to all the blood money that Vigilante
Shouts out.
has. And they kind of just stage an intervention with him and say, look, like, we are your family, and again, everybody in that scene is insanely well done.
Yeah, and that was a great moment. Like, not only are we your family, but you make us better.
Yeah.
Which, as someone in Chris's position, that can save your life, being told that kind of stuff.
And especially because this whole season is kind of its own allegory for taking your life. He writes a suicide note when he goes to the other dimension to leave. He wants to go to the better place. And he's saying it's not your fault, all this stuff. And the thing that I really liked about it was like, one part I don't feel is earned, but a part that I really like is that this whole season we don't see the acknowledgement by Peacemaker, by Chris, of what he means to Vigilante. We do see it in the flashback in this episode at the very start, where he's talking about I take care of him because his brother wasn't good to him, and so he looks up to me. But this whole time he's talking to Adebayo because he sees that they have like this kinship where they understand each other in a unique way, and they have that camaraderie. And so he writes the note to her, and then doesn't really write anything about Adrian, about Vigilante.
Doesn't even
in there.
mention Adrian.
And that's the one time you see this character who is a by design flat character who does not change. You see him cry because not because his friend has gone alone, but maybe also because he's not really fully acknowledged in that. And that's one thing I would have liked to have seen more addressed in this is that relationship, because I think that's a very Chris doesn't accept him because he doesn't feel like he is worthy of that acceptance, and I wish we would have seen more of that.
Yeah, it does feel like Chris kind of just got away with that.
Yeah, and especially given that like now we're in a setting where you're going to have Checkmate literally combing the dimensions trying to find out and get to Chris. Like they're gonna break the world down to find this guy. And so maybe we get it there, but it's going to potentially be muddled in the fact that Superman is 2 years away itself. So that has to get somewhat resolved in 2 years to me. I don't think you can leave him in there for 2 years. I don't think you can do like maybe the whole movie is just that Superman is in Salvation. Like maybe
Superman would go to Salvation, I reckon.
I would figure they would send him there, and then they're fighting a villain in there, and then that.
Yeah.
You have a two-pronged thing of Peacemaker of Checkmate from the outside trying to get to them, and Superman and Peacemaker working together essentially to try and get out. That's the only way I can really currently envision it.
Well,
dude, that's like the best. Like that'd be super cool. Peacemaker.
I
and
could tell you where
Superman.
Where they're going with Salvation. If you haven't looked at it,
I know the gist is that it's like a death fight to the death sort of thing, like prison warfare sort of stuff.
Sort of. I'll try to be quick with this, Nico. But in the comic, which is aptly named Salvation Run, it's a similar deal. I did read this online because I did not have this knowledge in the back of my head. But basically, it is a planet that it's a similar thing. They're sending metahumans to keep them imprisoned. It's otherwise completely impenetrable or like unable to be found. And then turns out, oh wow, the planet's actually not super safe. and it is not overrun, but it is under the control of Apocalypse, which is the planet that Darkseid is from, who is basically the Thanos of DC.
That makes sense.
And it is used as training grounds by some of Darkseid's henchmen. So, assuming that that's where they're going with the DCU, where I have no doubt that that is the case, I think that salvation in some way will be important later on. Whether
that makes sense.
What Chris's deal is on that planet, I don't know. I have genuinely no idea what they're going to be doing with that. But I figure they're going to be throwing Darkseid in there at some point. They're going to be using Apocalypse. So I think that we will see salvation again very soon.
I would be shocked if it's not in the next movie, because this is supposed to lead into Superman 2. So I have to think that Checkmate is going to be working with Superman to try and figure out something, or working to get Superman out when they find out that he is court-martialed or disappeared. Right? Like, not court-martialed because he's not military.
Sokovia.
It's and all of this fits in the themes that the show does. Like, obviously, this is earned by what they're doing in the DCU. I don't have an issue with that. I think it all makes sense. I just wish we got more Peacemaker closure, because this is 2 years away from the movie, which ostensibly then means that unless he already has Checkmate season 1 written, which I would not be shocked by, this man writes fast, that might be 2028. So that's another 3 years between seasons. And
do you reckon?
Yeah.
You reckon they're going to do a Checkmate series?
That's what the Waller series seems to have turned into. So yes,
that'd be cool.
Peacemaker is also one of the founders of Checkmate in the comics. So
okay,
I'm
just, dude, this type of an ending just like never sits well with me. Like a mid-season ending or like the end of like one episode, like, yeah, sure. But it's like when it's the ending of an entire like series, and especially since they so brazenly are like, yeah, there's like, and kind of cockily too, being like, yeah, there's no plans for Peacemaker season 3.
That was kind of taken out of context, is the thing though.
And it's also kind of hard to take like James Gunn at his word with this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know if you actually looked at what he said, but it was, is there a Peacemaker season 3? And he said, we're doing stuff with these characters. It might not be called Peacemaker.
Yeah. I did.
That makes sense, because Peacemaker moves into Checkmate, and Checkmate is then the show. It's the same thing, just with the same characters and a different focus, because it's not about Peacemaker alone anymore. That's kind of the theme of the season, is this is his own personal journey. That's why he's so selfish about ignoring Adrian about all these things and dealing with his own problems. And then he finds out he does have that family, and now the next season is about that family.
Yeah, that's fair.
Especially because
But also, on the subject of salvation, the story of salvation goes that it turns into this big multi-metahuman prison uprising, basically, against some of Darkseid's lower forces. So, I mean, honestly, that seems like it would fit James Gunn's MO pretty well. I could see that alone being a movie, a story, a show, even a short that they would continue Chris's story and alone, honestly.
And Creature Commandos season 2 is already done, as far as I know. That's
how long do you reckon Cena's gonna act for?
I mean, he's not wrestling anymore, so he's doing it for the rest of his life until he wants to settle down.
Well, that's like kind of what I'm at. I'm like, how long do you reckon he's gonna be acting for?
I mean,
I doubt he'll quit in the next 5 years.
Batista's older than him, and he's been acting for over 10 years, 15 years at this point. Cena just started acting 6 years ago, more or less, in terms of proper, not counting the Marine,
like real roles.
Which is funny. I didn't recognize that in the Marine, the villain is also Robert Patrick, who is Cena's dad in this show. So they've been in multiple.
Wow.
This is the third property they've been in together, and it was from his.
I did appreciate
his first acting role.
I did appreciate that they got him to basically say, "Come with me if you want to live."
That was great. They got a bunch of good stuff. They got the two vigilantes doing the Spider-Man point.
True.
There's so many good moments this season.
Good moments. They did craft a lot of great moments. I will say that. I think all the moments were great. All the bits were great. I don't think there were not a lot of bits that didn't hit for me this season.
No, I definitely
She
agree.
gave it to me on her deathbed. She died when he was 2.
So good.
All the bits were thummies uppy.
She
like
haunts.
when she when Harcourt like shoves Economos like into the bathroom, like
I
right
just
before
took a shit
that.
in there.
Right, so I just took a shit in there.
I want to highlight one thing, which I think, you know what, the Eagly subplot for the middle of the season was funky, but I'm growing.
I just wish they would have followed up on it.
I think they did, though. It's growing on me a little bit in that we then see Eagly standing depressed in a corner in this episode, and I wanted to kill. Like, I was angry for Eagly in that moment, because they're just looking around the whole house for Eagly, and he's standing in the closet upset. And like the fact that this eagle does in fact care so much about Chris, because you assume you get it, especially in season 1 after the hug, because season 1 ended with the hug, which is the whole thing about that made Adebayo a believer, because she saw an eagle hug a human. And it seeing Eagly so upset when he's also this godly super eagle is kind of funny in one lane.
You know what? I think you've convinced me.
And then also it's important as well, and this was a thing that James Gunn said in that podcast that I also, when I was skimming through, they specifically put the scene of Economos clipping Eagly's nails or whatever's going on, and Eagly turning it into a handshake. They put that there to show Eagly's okay. He has someone he trusts now that Chris is going to be gone for a while. And that was a really important thing as well, I think. Now that I've caught what that was, it was already important to me because it's like Eagly's awesome, and I would kill for him. But
Aligned.
It's I don't know. Do you think? Here's a question for you, Trav. Do you think that they're done with Earth X properly? Because we know there's the tease of the brother maybe coming back.
Yeah, because I've been watching the James Gunn casts. After each episode, I haven't seen the new one yet, obviously.
Yeah.
But he said like, the plan was that Harcourt was gonna shoot Keith, and then they decided not to. Well, all that podcast did was solidify that Keith is definitely not coming back for the finale, and that ended up being true.
Yeah.
So I think that they'll probably keep him around. I doubt Earth X will be important for the movies side of things, but I can see it coming back in another show. Like maybe Captain Triumph or whatever Keith's super villain name is gonna come back in Lanterns or whatever the hell.
It's just an interesting thing to, like you said, Keith was supposed to die outright, so I think that they did expect that to be a closed plot thread when this was written. Yeah. And then it was unwritten, so then it made the final episode so weird because you're expecting there to be a climactic thing, but the climactic thing was just that it broke Chris. The climax was Chris being completely broken as a human being. Yeah. And this was...
Which honestly, I was ready for that to be the end. Like, I was ready for that to be a depressing end for Chris's character when you saw how broken he was. I just thought the show was going to end on a sour note for Chris. Well, like, we don't know where he went.
Yeah, which was, to be fair, we don't know where he went.
I guess that's still true.
Fair. I'll say this.
Okay.
I didn't quite... I don't know if I grasped, like, the ending right before... they cut to Flag having kidnapped him. When right after Adebayo gave like the speech, right? And she's like, "Chris, are you gonna let us down?" And like they just like cut away to all of them leaving, and then he talks to Harcourt. And so I was kind of like unclear about how that actually...
Well, I don't think he wanted to have that discussion in front of everybody.
But also I think that was a dramatic sort of moment of, oh, did he say no? That was a...
Yeah, I was just unclear.
Which I think is just the point of that shot, is to...
Yeah, I think that's deliberate.
To make it be like, oh, did he say yes or no? And to me, it's clear he said yes either way. My opinion is that, are you going to let us down? He's going to join Checkmate. Then he stops and asks, because also they can't leave altogether because he might be spied on, because he's still also... technically waiting to go to court. So,
I just like the reason I was unclear was because then they start Checkmate and they seem to be all good. So I was like,
I'm pretty sure that's your answer then.
Yeah.
Well, but he
danced.
Yeah, I don't know.
You just didn't get a.
Just tonally explicit answer. It was just tonally a little bit weird and obviously followed up by a pretty definitive answer, but like it was just tonally kind of weird for me. It was just a weird
Welcome to
disconnect, I guess that I
Yeah,
had.
I mean, they wanted you to be concerned about whether he would say yes or not, because this is a broken man. Will he accept that he is loved? And then he does, to me. Even like, the implicit thing is to me that either way he does. And then he asks Harcourt, do you also love me, essentially? And like the fact that he has to ask that is just because he's so insecure as a person. And that's why she answers with like, yeah, of course, you moron. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, stop bringing it up. Of course. And like you see that moment of them both being vulnerable again for the fourth or fifth time this season. And then you get him dancing saying, I have people that care about me. I have what I want.
I have a reason to keep going.
And then the montage happens with them playing the theme one more time.
I love that. I love that they
speaking of which,
incorporated the
what do
theme.
you guys think about the theme song?
Perfect.
At first, I didn't care for it because I wanted the first one again. And then I was like, well, to be fair, the first one was one that was funny to begin with and then set things up for the season if you paid attention. And that it was, if you watched it again after the fact, it made sense. This one was then clearly, we knew going to have that same effect where it was, it's going to make more sense the more you get into the season, especially if you play Fortnite. And then... And then, even within episodes, the way that they set it up, because I don't remember if they did in season 1 this exact thing. Obviously, the intro would happen, and they would do a cold open and an intro sometimes. I don't remember them doing the thing where they would have the slight swell of music fading into the intro in season 1. But here, you're getting these flashbacks every single episode. There's a flashback before.
Yeah.
And the flashback is the tonal setup for the episode.
It definitely wasn't as long because, my camera just gave up. If it did happen, it would end up being all you would really hear is tell me, do you really want to taste it? And that's it. It didn't have that long build up.
It was a punch. It punches you in the face almost. And I liked that because that's what season 1 was. Season 1 was a consistent, every episode of that season, they ended with like a cliffhanger of, now you know what's going to go next. And then the next episode would subvert that every single time. And I really liked that about season 1. It's what made me trust in this process going into season 2. And the fact that season 2, doesn't have a bunch of subversions in the same way was interesting in itself. But the fact that all of those flashbacks into them building that saxophone coming in or whatever that is.
I did like that about season 2. There weren't as many like subversions or like actually just like real plot twists. Like it was more like
it's a character study. It's not really
character study. I do like that about this season of television. I thought it was incredibly entertaining. The theme song, I align with both of you in that I understand the perhaps need for a new theme song and perhaps like a song that lines things up.
Oh wait, I thought you were meaning different from the new one.
Different from season 1. I understand the need for a new theme song from season 1, and I am aligned that season 1's theme song like fit it in a different way that like perhaps lyrically this one does. I need to double click on that personally.
Because God knows I've had some rough years.
Yeah,
but
like,
I think
it is straight up.
The song I just didn't like.
It's
the
also
song
a bit
as
more
much.
melancholic, a bit more sad,
Yeah,
which is the
I
point
just
of the
which I think
season.
is deliberate.
I didn't. The song didn't get me as excited for every episode as Do You Want to Taste It? Did.
See, I think
The
that's
dance
the
was
point.
great. Like the choreo.
You're not
choreo
supposed to
thumbs
be
up.
excited for the episodes themselves as much because this is a darker season. This is a darker vibe. Things are sad. It's not just I'm a superhero again. It is now I'm a broken human. And I think that fit what they went with theme wise. And like Trav said, like the line about having rough years, I hear that in that song and it like hits every time where it's like everyone's had that, where they've had multiple bad years. And that is what the last few years have been for these people that we haven't seen on camera, because years have passed since season 1. Harcourt has not had her job at Argus for 2 years, at least. She says that in this episode. And so to me, it's everybody's down, because Economos he has none of his friends there anymore working with him. Adrian he's happy because he's Adrian. Adebayo has nothing going for her, but she's still hopeful because that's just who she is as a character. Chris is, broken because he doesn't have what he sees as anything. He doesn't have his place in the world. He doesn't know what he wants to do, which is the same as Adebayo, which is not the same as Harcourt, because Harcourt is very much, this was my job. I do what I do, which was subverted, or not subverted, but directly accosted masterfully by Augie in last episode, in episode 7, where, I didn't expect what they were doing with a lot of that stuff in Earth X, and I thought it was such a great commentary that he had on what Harcourt was doing. His words are, to me, what makes her finally really consider breaking, because she says to him, "Oh, well, you have a bunch of Earth X people in your world. What are you doing to save the world?" And he just kind of says, "I can't save this. I can do what I can. I don't know what your world is like." And that's what her MO has always been. And so she, after 2 years of wanting this job back, is now like, do I want this job back? And then she sees someone's face get eaten by a bunch of Smurfs.
Knives.
And so then, no, I'm talking about this episode. Like, she has.
I thought you were talking about Augie, because we were on like
within
part of
this
it.
episode. Like,
no, she sees the guy get killed by.
No,
the
I know what you're
Candyland
saying. Yeah,
gremlins.
I didn't remember that guy.
he was he was the one that was with Titties and the other ones.
Yeah, I looked him up.
Part of Flurry's
group.
Speaking of the turn of Bordeaux was a little sudden to me. Am I the only one who thought that? That felt a little sudden.
So I think, to me, it was, and I'm letting it simmer, because obviously this is a hot take response sort of deal, and so we're coming in hot on this. As I let this episode simmer, I think it was fast. I think it's also an interesting point to whatever is going on with Flag, that he now hates metahumans apparently, which maybe it's because that's why his son died ultimately. Maybe that's what it is.
Be.
But whatever the case,
I'm not mad at it. By the way, I'm not mad at.
Well, we know you're mad at it, but it's one of those. It's one of those deals where, to me, it's like it's meant to be jarring. This whole episode is meant to be jarring. I don't think I necessarily fully agree with it being jarring, but I understand the point of this is going in a completely different direction. It's going to punch you in the face, like season 1 did, to be fair. And it's going to make you uncomfortable as you see all these freaks laughing and high-fiving as people are getting murdered in and out, going and doing this grunt work. There's a reason they played We're Not Going to Take It.
Yep.
There's a reason that was there, and it's because these people are getting thrown as worker bees into the fire, and there are suits that are laughing about it, and they don't even know what they're doing, and that's so clear after all of the Earth X.
Considered a metahuman as well.
Yeah,
so
and that adds to it. But to me, it's so clear that after all that Earth X stuff ends, the thematic focus of this season on what Earth X means and what doing what you can means and following orders and all this sort of stuff, that remained through this episode. And it goes back to what Adebayo said last episode, where this universe ain't all that different from the other one.
Yeah.
And we now see they're building camps for metahumans. Not just Arkham. This is not Arkham where you go there to go to prison because you did bad. This is a camp. This is where you go to die and never be seen again. You are getting disappeared. There's a reason that's being written in this world that we are in.
Back from the Nazi world.
Yeah.
Might want to censor that. Sorry.
No, I think we're far enough in that I don't think that there's going to be an issue with that.
Fair enough.
But that's how I feel. It's like it was fast, but it's also fast to Bordeaux is kind of what I think is happening.
Yeah, and it's not like you can't just. I guess it's not like you can't have just a change of heart like that, right? People do it all the time.
I mean, there's the self-preservation aspect.
I did it when I decided I don't like Kevin anymore.
Yeah, and to Trav's point about not liking me, like Bordeaux is metahuman, so now it's you're going really hard at these people that are me.
I thought Trav said I don't like heaven anymore. I thought Trav was making some sort of grand statement about.
She thought that Candyland dimension was going to be heaven, and then the Smurfs went hard. So, Yeah.
Also, they made small thing I want to say before we finish it up. I love that we got to humanize Judo Master a little bit.
Yeah, a line.
Yep.
That was great.
I loved that moment between him and Bordeaux.
I really enjoyed...
Not Bordeaux, sorry.
Him and Adebayo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really
Dummies.
enjoyed that, especially in the place they are in. You know, like in that dimension.
I watched that episode and I was like, holy shit. I was like, what's going to happen? Because, like, okay, I don't believe... how do I say this? I do think that episode where, like, the one right before Judo Master and Adebayo have their...
the episode 6 reveal
moment
of what Earth X is.
I reckon that there are going to be a lot of people who say, I saw that coming. I saw that coming. I saw it. I noticed it. And I don't believe a single person who's not like no, Trav, you not I don't believe a single person who's like not a person of color, because I definitely, admittedly, I noticed it. I did not notice.
So this was a thing that within moments...
That's part of the statement, right? Like, aligned with the statement.
Within moments of episode 1 having finished, people were like, oh, this is Earth X. So I think you underestimate people that read comics.
Okay, yeah, perhaps. I'll say, yeah, I guess maybe I'll subset, like, people
entirely
without
white.
Prior knowledge, right?
Yeah.
I'm like half... Never mind.
Yeah. Prior knowledge. I didn't have any of the prior knowledge. I did not notice.
And I didn't know that either.
Like,
and then I was just kind of like, I'm curious what people think. And then I saw people saying Earth X, and I was like, wait, that rings a bell. What is that? And through osmosis, I've heard some of this stuff about the comic universes. Yeah. And then someone goes, hey, look at all the people in the background of that episode. And I'm like, oh, that's what Earth X is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I obviously, like, I didn't have that context.
Yeah.
But I also, like, Gorilla Basketball problem. Like, I wasn't looking for it.
Well, and that's exactly, I know what you're referring to.
And that's the part of the statement, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, part of the point of the writing. Like, and that's, like, that was effective to me.
It's
like,
that as a thematic point, and it's also that as, like, the reason the reveal is still treated as dramatic is, people who know are going to find out. People who know, this stuff are going to know ahead of time, and they're going to look for all these hints. People that don't, this is then a horror movie thing, which is also kind of funny in its own right, because it's comical of having this horde of scared humans chasing a human. That's how absurd those beliefs are, like...
Yeah.
Or in my case, what still caught me off guard is what Keith yells when he gets out of the truck.
That's such a horrifying line.
That was, like... it was simultaneously horrifying and yet so absurd that, like, I laughed because I can't imagine a person saying that.
Yeah.
But also, holy shit.
And the fact that he's so
Sometimes
scared.
You get a laugh out of discomfort.
Yeah.
He's smacking his truck. He gets out. He's honking his horn. It's like,
it's not even just like honking horn. Like, he gets out and he looks scared. It's not, I'm angry. These people aren't angry. They're afraid.
The best then is Augie being like, I thought I raised you boys better than that.
I did like the twist.
I appreciated
of Augie
that.
I didn't expect it.
Not being.
Didn't expect that.
I was ready for it. No, early on, back when I was like, okay, this is probably a Nazi Earth, and it's Peacemaker driving on the motorcycle, and that's when, like, all the people are like, oh my god, Peacemaker, I love you. And you see on the mural, I jokingly leaned over to my girlfriend while we were watching it, and I'm like, see, his armor is blue, meaning that he's not a Republican, he's a Democrat. I didn't think I'd be kind of on the money with that.
It makes complete sense once they get to that reveal that Augie is actually quietly maybe in the Resistance, but not really, or at least a
supporter.
A supporter.
Well, the way that he handles, Chris and all of the normal Earth folks, he handles them with, like, kind of care in a way that I don't think you would get.
It's not that part to me. Obviously, that is also an element of it. It's the fact that
just nuance.
Of course, that character in every dimension, because all these characters in these dimensions are functionally similar at their core. There is a nature versus nurture thing going on here, in that their character traits are similar, with the exception of Rick Flag Jr. But
yeah, that was interesting.
But then with Augie in both universes, he is a counterculture fiend.
Yes,
he is specifically.
That's exactly the point I was going to go to. Yeah.
And so, of course, he, you would think, oh, Augie in our Earth was a white supremacist, so therefore Augie would be very happy and not have to be angry in that universe. And then you find out, no, Augie in that universe still doesn't like what the government's doing, and especially when you consider that Augie is growing up with what the government's doing there, and he was, old enough to see the immediate fallout of that World War II ending. Not that he's, 80, but he's like, 70 something. So he heard stories, it makes complete sense. Yeah, I mean, if the footage exists.
They had me by the balls, though. Like, I still was like, he's probably still a Nazi. I mean, look. They had me by the balls, and then he kills the cops when he saves our Peacemaker, and that's when the gears started turning for me.
Yeah. Just interesting stuff, and it was like really good.
There's another element of that I find interesting as well, which is I would have liked to have seen more of an addressing between Chris and Adrian yet again, but with the fact that Adrian killed his not dad. I think he understands that, if he sees this guy doing this, he's not upset at the action. He's upset that he was ultimately responsible. But I would have liked to have seen a little bit of.
Yeah, it's like I don't see Chris being like, oh, I can't forgive him. I don't see him being like, oh, I'm never going to talk to Adrian again. But I would have liked to seen that addressed.
Like, there's just those things. I do
get the psychology of it, being what Kevin just said of like, he knows that like it wasn't kind of right in the first place, or he's sort of like reckoning with like everyone dies because of me.
Like he takes the first
thing on his mind
inward. Yeah. And I understand that's the first thing that's on his mind as well. And then when you assume he's like stewing in the cell and he's like, I'm, whatever. I still don't think he would ever have blamed Adrian, because in the context of, oh, I saw Augie looking at you and Economist was tied up, like there's no reason that you would assume not to do that thing. It's just an unfortunate thing that happened in this situation, Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Aligned.
But
man, what like a weirdly bummer ending though. That's like,
I'm not happy with it.
Weirdly bummer, bro. Not happy with it either. Like, bummer coded.
It is fundamentally set up.
Yeah, it's which we knew going in it was set up for Superman 2. I just would have liked for something more definitive before that, because I don't think I liked the montage too much. It made me happy. It got fine. Yeah, it made me happy. It got feels going because, all these people are working together and that's really cool. But I didn't see you need to explain what that is. I would have liked to have seen Checkmate suing Argus or something.
Yep.
Like something in there to show what Checkmate is supposed to do, because it just says Checkmate making the world a better place or whatever the header is. Yep. But if you don't know what that is.
Adrian learns about spider milk.
Yeah.
True. That was important.
I needed several more minutes of exposition about that.
Yeah. And so that's, again, I think that's what sticks with me, is that this is setting up multiple different things, and I think that does a disservice to the Peacemaker show, that we didn't get something more satisfying out of it, because all we got in terms of satisfaction is, to be fair, the one thing that's important to the character, which is that he's accepted and loved. So there is that, but I don't think that. I think that you can do more than that, and you can explain a little more in 5 minutes. Yeah. When you've had a bunch of 30-minute episodes,
Yeah. So, aligned heavily. One last shout that I would like to give is Tim Meadows, Blurry, great addition to the cast. That was just bits on bits, always funny. I saw
an amazing post that I want to tell you guys about, which is the confirmation that character, that actor, is coming back for Superman 2.
Thank God. Thank God.
And I saw
Tim Meadows is working. Thank God.
I saw a post saying that this is going to be the character to say, "Oh, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman."
Yeah, it's gotta be,
because
it's gotta be. Dude, the bird
so great.
The bird blindness coming back like Chekhov's gunning was insanely good. That was solid. That's
I loved the bird blindness bit, because I thought he was making it up. I thought he was just having some fun.
Good.
And then I can't tell how big this pigeon is.
Kevin and I have a friend who's like an avid bird watcher, and we're using the bird blindness against him.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
That would be great if for some reason, as soon as Superman starts flying, he can't perceive him. That is
Yeah.
like he can perceive him when he's man, but once he's super, it's gone.
He'll be like, who is that? Who's that flying up?
I want to see him see Hot Girl and be like, "What are you,
Crow?
True, actually, that should happen.
Crow woman?
Pigeon?
I guess my
Pigeon lady?
my wrap up thought, I guess, is, it's. Trav, you've consumed a lot more as far as the Superman superhero TV show.
I'm pretty fat. Oh,
media
TV
goes.
Okay.
And so maybe you'll disagree with me. I haven't consumed
Sure,
nearly
go
as
ahead.
many of them in terms of I haven't watched like the what's the show everyone likes, Daredevil? I didn't watch that.
I like Daredevil.
And to me, I thought the Peacemaker season 1 was one of the best superhero shows that had been
Aligned.
made.
Yes,
Fully aligned.
I agree.
I
agree.
still think after season 2 that the show is one of the best superhero shows.
Fully aligned.
Superhero universe shows, because obviously it's not superhero itself. I still
Aligned.
think it's there for a different reason this time, in that it's so much more human than even season 1 was. And I think so much of the superhero genre has forgotten about the human element in trying to be witty all the time, that when you have a writer who puts all these witty jokes in and every character has a quick, quip back, and you actually give them a chance to have characters besides being quippy, it goes such a long way. And I think maybe that's more than anything why I'm willing to go along for the ride.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm like begrudgingly in, but like also not very begrudging. Like begrudgingly in that, like, bro, couldn't you have made this easy on me?
Like, I
But,
know
like-
that James Gunn doesn't do truly
like-
happy endings. I wasn't expecting that, but I would have just
Yeah.
liked a slightly better conclusive vibe
Yeah.
before
I
they
would've
do the
liked-
twist. Because I honestly, I like the way the twist goes because it's very interesting. They're
Twist-
not going to kill Peacemaker in that realm because he's going to be in
Twist
checkmate.
should have been post credits.
Um,
That twist could have easily been post credits. It would have been just fine.
I don't think it's a post-credit sort of thing though. I think it's very important to what Peacemaker.
All the post-credit scenes for this show have just been more
Bloopers. Yeah, more context to like bits.
improv.
and-
There we go.
Yeah.
No, I'm a lot. I
So-
guess I agree. I think like the way I'm thinking about it is like, I don't know how you guys felt. I watched this episode, not to drag it on longer. I got to go to bed, but like, the end of the episode, by the time I was like, it feels like this story is wrapping up, I saw that there was like 30 minutes left or 20 minutes left like on the
Yeah.
episode. And I was like, oh, okay, like something is going to happen, right? Like something is going to happen. And then nothing happened. And then it was just like, oh, they find him. They say the right things. They succeed their role. They rolls a nat 20 for speech,
which
and and
again,
gets him back and thummies, and that's all thummy. But then, I get there and there's 15 minutes left, and I'm like, okay, what are they gonna do? And then they play the theme song for 3 minutes, and it closes it out in 3 minutes, and then you just get 5 to 6 minutes of just this exposure for Superman 2. And I'm like, okay, that could have been separated by like a little something.
But I think, the more that I
know.
think about it, the more I think that's in the spirit of what they're going for. Because
Yeah.
they spend
Like,
most of this. You get Peacemaker at the start of this episode, and then after the flashback at the start of this episode, and then he is not in the next 40 minutes of show, more or less. And it is because you get every other character trying to figure out how to get him back. Because that's how important he is to them, that they will do anything to get him back, and that all of them are figuring out ways. They're putting plans together. It is showing that group is more than just side characters to him, that they all have their ability to do their own thing and find their own purpose. And at the same time, it's all within the context of an episode where so much is happening and so many people are dying for the benefit of some mysterious project that it's jarring. And then so you have that jarring back and forth. I get what it's going for. I don't know that I like it emotionally, but I understand as a
I
formal,
get it from like
as a
from
formal
technical
analysis.
standpoint.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
Right. Yeah.
and to that end, the ending then being just as jarring makes complete sense.
Makes sense, but it's no.
Because as soon as they
bummer
confirmed that this world that they were looking for a prison world, which is about what I expected, as soon as they confirmed that, I'm like, oh, there's no way that they end this episode with Chris not being thrown in there. That's immediately what I felt.
I figured something was going to happen with that because it had to be addressed to set up Superman so directly.
As soon as Flag said it's a prison, and then they said metahumans only, right? And he was like, yeah,
maybe.
And it kind of goes into the power corrupts thing. It kind of goes into you can set all these rules, but the moment you break one,
I will say I really don't like that Rick Flag Sr. That guy seems like a really no fun guy.
Real flawed individual.
Yeah,
real flawed individual. Perhaps not a very good man.
It's self-compelling in its own right. Like, I'm still curious. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It just felt very fast, and I think it's probably supposed to feel a little fast. You're probably not supposed to get his motivation. I think the whole episode is functionally the 1 hour equivalent of a Dutch angle.
Mm-hmm. It really does. It really is off balance, isn't it?
The whole episode could just be slightly tilted to make you uncomfortable the whole time because there's something off the whole way. Which is, to be fair, again, we saw Earth X this whole season. Something was a little off. It felt a little weird. What's going on? Why is it so perfect to specifically Chris, the idiot? And so everything having this nice bow, it just doesn't exist in the real world, and I appreciate that. But man,
I do
5 more minutes.
I guess I also wish it were either like not such like a hard jarring transition, but I guess to your point earlier, that's part of the point of it. And like all the things that I'm gonna say, it comes back around to being like, yeah, that's part of the point of it. Yeah. But at the same time, like, yeah, again, to your point, I appreciate it as literary, but I
don't have to like it necessarily
standpoint, but like,
yeah. I'm sure the thing is, and I'm sure we would be able to go another hour with this and find more things to get into, and we would probably learn more.
Scratch.
Like, well, not even just like in terms of like what we're getting as in terms of layers, but as we are just absorbing this more and more, we're learning more and more about how we feel about it. And I think that's something that I don't usually still expect out of superhero type media.
Yes.
Aligned.
Because, and this is not a dig at Marvel, but it's popcorn movies, and this is not a popcorn show, to the point that it opens with an orgy and it ends with a man alone. And
so true.
There's probably something to be said about that.
I still remember it was like the first message Kevin sent me after episode 1 aired of season 2. He said, like, would you believe that they followed up Superboy and his super dog with the most graphic orgy I've ever seen on television?
The phrase I have used every time, so I know I used it there, is there's something to the extent of, I can't believe they followed Superman and his dog, the super PG-13 movie, with a dicks out orgy.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Because
I was gonna say, like, I've watched The Boys, so there are grosser orgies on television.
Oh, I'm sure, but the fact that it's like, I wonder what happens after Superman.
Grosser, yes.
Like immediately after Superman, your kid's like, I want to see what's next, and then you just see a bunch of people actually just boning. Like, it's
here it is.
It's the classic James Gunn absurdism that you come to expect, and it's appreciated because we all need an orgy in our lives.
Yep, aligned.
Any
good stuff?
Is there a better closing thought than that? I don't think there is.
Just end it, man. Just end it. We'll see you tomorrow.
Goodbye.
Peacemaker forever.
Peace out.